I've had every single Game Boy along the line. There's something extremely novel about the handheld object of it, and like say in the backseat of a car for a long road trip and getting car sick and like sticking through it even. I got this special cartridge made in the Ukraine, and this holds like 1,500 Game Boy games on it. This feeling of the possibility there that I love. But like in the same way, I'd love a bag of Doritos that was every flavor of Doritos in one bag. You know, I've always thought Kellogg's should make a box of cereal that's all their cereals together. I love variety and I love picking through stuff, and I think that's something that occurs all the time in my work. It's like if I'm making a pen, I don't just want to make one pen, I want to make every pen. Every single piece, I think, has this kind of indexical quality of it. I'm finding something that resonates with me and almost doing this pilgrimage of labor, worshiping my obsession with this in order to make every single version of this specific object. My earliest memory of working with the computer was on I think it was called like a Mac 2 or Mac LE, something like this. Kind of like a little shoebox of a computer. I would just sit on that and like draw in Mac Paint. I love looking back at it because now you see all these like artifacts. Games like Myst and Riven, and even earlier Cosmic Osmo and Spelunks. Now you see the polygons and the pixels, but at the time, it's just like a complete world. You don't even realize the construction of it. It's just like a real place that my imagination could flourish. Everything's 3D now and like has such high fidelity, and games have $100 million budgets. In Metal Gear Solid 5, you can tell the difference between the leather on his armor and the canvas on his armor. Look at the texture on this silo here and the wet stains on it. In The Witcher 3, they're using these graphics techniques of when the character is swimming through the water. I end up just like swimming around in circles, like studying how they've done this. I tend to view the world through the 3D modeling software. I'm looking outside right now, at the geometry of the porch. I know just how I would create the pipe of the railing on the porch, and even the way the two pipes meet and the joints kind of welded. I can imagine how I'd weld them together and smooth out the geometry. And in a lot of ways it makes me feel close to the objects, even though I don't know how to like build the couch you're sitting on physically. I know exactly how to build it in 3D modeling. With each piece I make, I kind of end up collecting objects around it. It's both part of investigating it and having reference, but it's also just part of like the fun of being obsessed with something. It's kind of like getting a new toy as a kid. They're little objects to meditate on, to find inspiration in. I started working on this pen cup piece. It's called Where's My Water? When I was beginning my second show at Team, my days kind of changed from thinking about my fantasies and escape into video games to thinking about my work and the process of like laboring over these. So labor really became the theme of many pieces in the show. Every aspect of this piece was like very time consuming, and I think that really got rid of all of this stress that I was feeling about creation, or kind of the pain of having to sit down at the desk every day and click away. And I think it's kind of embodied in the way that the pens fall into the pen cup. It's both, kind of like joyous, they bounce and it's fun to watch, but it's also like a little bit angry, like, getting rid of them. I moved into this apartment I guess about half a year ago, and I really loved sitting out here looking at this park from top down. You see all the people playing basketball or the skateboarders going in past, and I started to see them as being programmed. I love the way that the people chased after the ball or followed the rules of the lines on the ground. There's just like a real pleasing mathematical harmony to this composition. So I set off making a piece inspired by this, a piece divided into squares, where each square is kind of making decisions about what is rendered there. It's a composition that's following rules that seems to have some sort of artificial intelligence behind its design. I recently got a puppy, and training the puppy has been really interesting because it's so indirect. I just couldn't help but imagine that it's kind of like interacting with an android. Puppies really follow like a smaller set of rules than humans do in a way. If you just adjust these certain things, they start responding to different rules. So I've been really loving this feeling of the kind of like hidden programming inside of nature, but specifically inside of people or dogs, like things that are making their own decisions. I don't know specifically how to describe it, but there's just a pleasure in looking. You know, just the peace that you can get from looking at something and it inspires you. It can be a portal to a different place in your mind, a place to start thinking about something else completely.